What's up, everyone? We are live at 5. It's Thursday, July 23rd. I'm Paul Wontorek.
And I'm Beth Stevens.
How you doing, Beth?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. And we're joined, as always, by Caitlin Moynihan. Hi, Caitlin.
Hello.
Oh, what do you have going on your ears? I didn't even notice before. I love it.
Fancy.
I'm wearing my fancy flamingo earrings because of our guest today, and she deserves all the fanciness in the world.
I'm trying to think of some tie into her career. There isn't one. But
No.
She is fantastic. Hey, Beth, who is here today?
Well, we are very excited because 6-time Tony Award winner Audra McDonald is with us today.
Yes. Yes. Very excited to talk about everything. So much going on with her, including all this amazing work with Black Theater United. They have a very special event tomorrow you're going to want to check out. We're going to talk all about it. But first, let's do some news.
An incredible new coalition was announced today with its first partnerships, and it is awesome.
That's right. There is a new coalition. It's called Black Theater Coalition. And that right there is a picture of Hadestown's T. Oliver Reed, who has partnered with Warren Adams, Reginald Reggie Van Lee, Afton Battle, and Aletha Stevens. And they have announced the formation of this coalition. It's an organization. All right, look at their goal, because it's pretty amazing. Okay. They aim to eradicate racial inequities within the theater industry and to build a sustainable, ethical roadmap to increase employment opportunities for Black theater professionals by at least 500% by 2030. And they're not just making a goal, they have outlined their roadmap and given us some ideas of what they want to do and what they are already doing, which is to partner with companies and professionals. They already have some work coming with the Revival of Company.
Right.
That's already happening. Also to create a database for Black professionals and a sustainable pipeline for Black graduates entering the theatrical workforce when it comes back. Let's put this all in time.
Well, but with company, isn't it specifically that they will have Black artists as interns in every part of the...
As many as they can to have them in all aspects of theater.
In all aspects of the production.
Behind the scenes, front of house, the whole, there's so much to the theatrical workforce. It's not just being center stage. And those recruitment efforts are also part of their ideas. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So read all about it on Broadway.com and see what they have outlined for this new coalition. It's very interesting.
Cool.
And we got a timeline update on when we can see this queen in theaters.
Oh my God, Beth, this is going to be so good. That is Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin in Respect, which I'm going to call R-A-S-P-E-C-T. I don't know if that's okay. I'll ask Audra. So this is the new biopic that's coming out. Wait till you hear the cast. But Jennifer Hudson is playing Aretha Franklin. And so now they announced, and Liesl Tommy, major theater and film talent, is directing. So now we found out it's coming out on Martin Luther King Jr. weekend.
Right.
So it's January 15th because they pushed the Academy Award deadlines all into next year. So, because typically you have to open before the end of the year to win an Oscar, which could happen. Another one. Anyway, so it's opening in early January. It was originally supposed to come out in December. Also in the cast, Heather Headley, Haley Kilgore, Saquon Sunglaw, Titus Burgess, Forrest Whitaker, Mary J. Blige, and Audra McDonald playing her mom. I mean,
the trailer, it doesn't show you very much, but it's so exciting.
I can't even talk about this. I let it be. We need to get to next year for a lot of reasons. January of next year, we're aiming for in a lot of ways, but really, come on.
Yes, and we found out that The Prom is heading back into production.
This is big news. So we're talking about The Prom film, and there, of course, is Ryan Murphy, the director of The Prom film. Now, we already knew that they had finished their principal filming with the cast of Meryl Streep.
They had a few days left.
James Corden, Andrew Rannells. As of today, so all those guys, those stars were already wrapped. Okay. Now they're going in just for a few more days to finish up because we need to see The Prom. Yes. We need to see The Prom. And this is a Netflix project, just that. And it's set to be released over the holidays. So there you have it. We don't We don't have an exact date, but we do know the cast, which we've talked about before, and they're going to finish it up. So it's really happening. This is some good news today. I like good news.
Yes, see, and there's more good news to come.
That's right.
Yes, and rounding out our news about Broadway stars on the screen, we found out that this Tony winner has a new gig.
Yeah, look, it's Cynthia Erivo, and she just signed on for the movie musical Talent Show, which sounds like a lot of fun. So it's directed by Ganja Montero, and it's based on an idea from the guy who wrote Save the Last Dance, and there's probably a lot of fans out there, and the Step Up franchise. And Cynthia Erivo will play a failed songwriter who returns to Chicago, her hometown, to lead a group of at-risk youth in their talent show. I mean, this just sounds like
Lena Waithe.
And Lena Waithe, who is like one of my favorite writers, mostly because of her Masters of None episode that she won an Emmy Award for, which was beautiful. She wrote the new version of the screenplay. So I think this is going to be an amazing movie, and then maybe it'll become a Broadway musical after. I don't know, it sounds like it could be all of those things.
It sounds right.
And now, Beth, you weren't here yesterday, but we are doing a new little segment that we're calling Today in Broadway.
I thought you were going to sing it. Okay, yeah.
No, I'm not. What we're doing is we're honoring important dates, and we just want to give a quick shout out to Vincent Sardis Jr. This is the guy. Yeah, senior. I'm sorry, senior. There is a junior. This is a guy that started Sardis. This is his birthday. He would have been 105 today, if that was a thing. He was born on July 23rd, 1915. He opened Sardis in its current location, which of course is currently shut down, in 1927. Before that, he had a restaurant called The Little Restaurant, which is where the St. James Theater is now. And what happened is they knocked it down to build the St. James Theater, and they gave him the new spot. So that's how he ended up there.
Each other on 44th Street, or near each other.
Yes, exactly. And he immediately hired this Russian caricature artist named Alex Gard, who created this Sardis caricature thing. And Ted Healy of the Three Stooges was the first. And Vincent Sardis Sr. died in 1969. His son went on to run the restaurant. It has become, of course, a Broadway institution. Opening nights have been there. I think the idea for the Tony Awards happened there. It's all about Eve. There's a scene that happens at Sardis. Right. It's a thing. And people still get their Sardis caricatures, including this one, which happened on December 17th, 1998. Look at that hair. It's one of my favorites. It is one of my favorite caricatures. Yeah, so that's today's. We're honoring Mr. Sardis, and hopefully Sardis, the restaurant, will be back soon. The second floor bar is very popular among show folks.
Want to get on the wall. Everyone wants to be on the wall at Sardis.
And everyone wants to be on the wall. It's still a thing. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Beth. Hey, Caitlin, will you please tell everyone about today's guest?
This is one of my biggest honors, getting to introduce today's guest, you guys. We have the Audra McDonald here with us today for a brand new episode of Live at 5 Home Edition, live right here on Facebook and YouTube. Of course, Audra is a six-time Tony winner, and she's here to talk all about the upcoming events of Black Theater United, a brand new coalition that has efforts to combat systemic racism in the theater industry that she co-founded with a bunch of the most talented people on Broadway. They have a really exciting event happening tomorrow and a lot more planned, so we're going to hear all about it. Make sure you guys follow along with Black Theater United at BLK Theater Unite. And you can follow Audra at Audra McDonald. Leave all of your questions in the comments below. And please welcome Audra and Paul.
The Audra McDonald.
Audra, I'm having such technical.
I remember when she was just Audra Ann. Now she's the Audra McDonald.
Oh, you know, I'm 50 now, so you get
it
everybody
happens.
gets it when you turn 50.
It's a thing. I know. Congratulations. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Did you have a good 50th birthday? But I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but I was at home with my family, and they had a treasure hunt for me. They had they surprised me with a Zoom call of all my friends.
Oh, nice.
They gave me a lobster dinner, which is the only thing I wanted. I don't know why. I just wanted butter. I wanted butter and lobster. And then my husband had gone through my cell phone and gotten in touch with all of these people throughout, just people I've known since I was 8 years old, and had everybody sent a little memory of how we met or how we spent time together in the past 50 years almost. And
wow.
I read that and drank and cried, and it was great.
We're actually going to watch that video right now. So let's play that. We are not. Don't worry. Will did not send that video. He would
I
never.
never know. I have to be careful.
You know, this is funny. I was just thinking, I only have one like theatrical thing in my house, and it's a poster of Carousel from Lincoln Center, which is the first time I ever saw you on that big hill. And I was like, who is this girl? She's incredible. She's so funny. And look at you now.
Well,
I mean, what a career.
How old were you? You must have been like 10.
I'm almost 50, Audra. Give me another year. I'm right there. Oh yeah, I'm right there. Don't worry about it.
It looks good. Looks very good.
Yeah, what an amazing career. I mean, it's just
Thank you.
It just is what it is, right?
I've been very, very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Learned.
So let's talk about life in the last in the last few months. It's been crazy. Obviously, everyone is sort of the world is going through all kinds of things. Everyone is home. Obviously, there's a lot of family time. I've seen some of your social media. I know you're spending good family time.
Yes.
But especially in the last, I mean, what are we talking about now? I mean, 6-7 weeks. I mean, you really, what's happened now with Black Theater United? I mean, ever since the death of George Floyd and the protests, and there's been all this sort of social uprising, and it immediately got to our community. It immediately sort of the theater community got rallied up, and we, even just in the news today, we just heard about another new organization.
Yeah, no, that's Black Theater Coalition. Yeah, they're gonna do tremendous things. The wonderful thing is it's many roads to the same destination, and you need multi-pronged sort of attacks, for lack of a better word, and in terms of attacking this issue, this pandemic of systemic racism within the country, the pandemic of police brutality within the country, and and systemic racism within the theatrical community. It's there. So I kudos to them, and I'm very excited to see the work that Black Theater Coalition is going to do. Black Theater United, literally our first sort of meeting, and it wasn't even a meeting. It was just LaChance and I were texting one night, and just upset and horrified, as everybody was or should have been, concerned that there hadn't been many people within our community. And when I say that, I mean, like producers and theatrical organizations that had been really speaking out about what was going on with that horrific murder that we all watched of George Floyd. And just to recognize the pain within the Black community. And we just said, we should do something. Let's just get some friends together and start talking and see what we can, what we can do, even if it's just we all have a conversation. And so we just put together a Zoom call with, all of our buddies. Most of us have been in this business for at least 20, if not 25, almost 30 years. And so we just got together just to say, what can we do? We can't sit on the sidelines. What can we do any more than what we are already doing individually? Is there something we can do as a group coming together? And that was June 1st. And we're not even, at the end of July. And, in the way that a lot of these organizations have come together, single-minded in purpose of just, clearing the path, changing the future, changing the now. And so we really wanted to focus on the macro as well as the micro, address that our entire house is on fire. We have to deal with what's going on within the theatrical community, absolutely, but the entire house is on fire. So we really wanted to focus on more civic engagement and how we as storytellers and theater makers could use our power, use the tools given us, as Sherilyn Eiffel said in our town hall with her a week and a half ago, to help sort of transform the narrative and become an army of amplifiers and do our part to sort of change what's happening within our nation. And so we've been focusing really on civic engagement. And of course, then there's work to do within the theatrical community as well. And we are about that work as well too. But right now we're specifically focusing on the census. Which is so important. It's really the beginning. It's one of the cornerstones, one of the pillars of democracy, and it's the beginning. Voter suppression and what's happening with voting rights is very important, but it starts with the census. So, and because Black and Brown people tend to be undercounted by up to 15%, that means a loss in almost $1.5 trillion that is allocated to these communities for healthcare and schools, and it's about districting as well, districting lines. So that determines who represents us in Congress and on the federal level. So we wanted to make sure that we started to amplify the message that it's so important for Black and Brown people to make sure that they are counted. And if people, I know the census doesn't seem sexy to some people, but all you need to know is that there are those that are in power right now that are trying to go after being counted in the census right now. The White House just put out a memorandum saying that they're going to see what they can do to make sure that undocumented immigrants are not counted in the census. And that is unconstitutional. Anyone who lives in this country is allowed to be counted. And so that's unconstitutional. So the fact that they're going after it should tell people everything they need to know about how important the census actually is. We're just trying to amplify that message as much as possible. And that end,
and so Stacey Abrams is a great place to start. And so there's an amazing event actually tomorrow. And Viola Davis, the fantastic Tony, Emmy, and Oscar winner, is moderating.
Yes.
And we have Stacey Abrams and her sister, Janine Abrams McLean.
Yes. She used to work for, her sister used to work, the Abrams girls are, that's a talented family. Dr. McLean used to work for the CDC, and when Stacey Abrams founded these two organizations, Fair Fight and Fair Count. Fair Fight is dealing with voter suppression and voter registration and whatnot, and Fair Count, which focuses on the census. She grabbed her little sister and said, "You're going to help me run this." And so now, anyway, so they've been all about it, and it's so important for our civic engagement, especially for Black and Brown people. And so we decided it would be great to get them to come and speak to the members and the allies of Black Theater United, because it's such a part of our mission is civic engagement, and to have Viola Davis, who is also a BTU member, and someone who is I've known her for 30 years. We've known each other for 30 years, but she is someone who is an activist and a humanitarian, as well as like the most brilliant actress that ever walked the planet. So that's going to be a really powerful trio that is going to have a lot to say, and a lot for us to think about, and a lot to charge us with in terms of what we need to do, actionable items. And so that town hall takes place tomorrow at 7, and I'm so excited. I'm encouraging everybody to participate. A lot of people say, "What can I do? How can I help?"
Right.
We're gonna give you actionable items tomorrow about how you can help and how you can amplify. Cool.
And it's at 7:00 Eastern time, 4:00 Pacific time, and you can watch it on the Facebook. I know I'm already subscribed
Black
to the
Theater United on Black Theater United on Facebook. We'll
everywhere.
be periscoping on Twitter, and we will also have our Black Theater United YouTube channel. It'll be streaming on that as well.
And Broadway.com will be tweeting at you too.
Yes.
So you won't miss it. I watched the last town hall you did with Sherilyn Ifill, who is she is really something. She is president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
Yes.
She is, talk about just electrifying.
Oh, she's electrifying. She's one of the most brilliant minds, an incredible lawyer, an incredible leader, as the president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. She's one of the people, this is an organization that has only had 7 presidents in its lifetime since it was founded by Thurgood Marshall in 1948. And, they were the ones that were bringing some of these incredible and iconic cases to the Supreme Court, like Brown versus Board of Education, things like that. This is an NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And so Sherilyn is now their leader, now their president. And she and I were sort of Twitter friends, and I knew she was a big theater fan. And so I just took a leap and asked if she would speak to us. And she was so eager to do it and so graciously accepted, not only because she's a theater fan, because she recognizes the power of theater as far as transforming the narrative, as far as, you know, how Black people are seen and seen by society. So she knew that there was absolute power and a necessity to speak to a mainly theatrical audience. And the same thing with actually Stacey Abrams and Janine Abrams McLean. You'll find out they are both like theater buffs. You can call them theater nerds.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, Janine, she knows like the lyrics to so many like theater songs whenever we talk and all this stuff. She's always quoting. I'm like, you are a theater nerd. So there's a real, whether people believe it or not, or they will when they see it tomorrow, there's a real theatrical tie-in to these women, as far as why, one of the reasons I reached out to them. And then also just because what they have and how they can educate us and activate us as members of this community is just invaluable, and we need it. So I'm so excited about tomorrow. It's going to be wonderful.
Well, and I loved watching you moderate the conversation a couple weeks
With
ago.
Sherilyn?
And yes, I love to sort of hear where you're coming from. And, you know, you've always had a very powerful voice on social media. You've always sort of used your platform and your fan base to sort of speak your own truths. And I've always enjoyed that. Is it natural for you to sort of take a sort of obviously you are a leader if you think, you know, Black talent on Broadway, Audra McDonald has 6 Tony Awards. I don't know why they're not behind you on a mantle, but I know they're next to you on the couch. I'm kidding. But people see you as a leader just sort of automatically because of your resume and the amazing success you've had. But is it natural for you to sort of take this sort of leadership role in an organization like this and to help be an amplifier?
Well, I mean, I guess it's only natural in that I just feel like we can't be, I didn't want to be silent anymore. Not that I was being silent, but I just wanted to, you know, a lot of us, I've said this a lot of Black people in the theatrical community have often only been the only ones in the room. Yeah. So there's never been an organization that's kind of pulled us all together. And so that's one of the reasons. But I think, you know, I'm a mom and I care very much about what's going to happen to my children and the world that they're going to live in. And I have a big mouth, I guess, you know, I just like what was going on with, you know, marriage equality. I just didn't want to be quiet about that. Yeah. I feel very passionate about the work that I'm doing with the Covenant House and taking care of homeless youth. And, you know, and the large percentage of them are, you know, Black and brown kids or kids who are LGBTQIA. And so these are just causes that are important to me. And I feel like, you know, I just can't be silent. You know, you've got to do something. And if I wasn't doing anything, I think I'd be going absolutely bonkers. Yeah. It's so scary out there. So sometimes it feels like if you're in the process of trying to do something, I'm more filled with hope than just sitting and watching it all happen on Twitter and going, what, you know. Yeah. For me, it's like, you got to go down fighting, you know? And so that's what I will do. I'm not going to, you know, if democracy dies, you won't say, well, you know, Audra was back there having a Mai Tai while it was all happening, you know. Right. I'm going to go down fighting like everybody should be.
And you'll also, it's also great for your daughters to see that and to see you and,
you know, and like, it's interesting, LaChance, you know, because LaChance and I kind of started this organization and now we have all these amazing co-founders and every, you know, it's definitely run as a group now. But LaChance's daughters are, you know, Celia Gooding and Zaya Gooding and Celia. Yeah. And Zaya and Zoe are the same age. And Zaya and Zoe ended up meeting each other, re-meeting each other at an event at a summer sort of camp thing that you could do at Yale. And they were both there doing like a summer camp. And Zaya started talking to Zoe about something. And she said, yeah, you know, my mom does Broadway. And And so it was like, so does my mom. And she was like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, long story short, she's like, well, so I was like, well, my mom is LaChance. And she was like, wait, my mom is Audra McDonald. Wait a minute. And they didn't realize, they had done dance classes together when they were little and just hadn't, remember, because it'd been a while. Long story short, Philando Castile was murdered summer while they were there. Right. And at one point, the girls, along with some of the other kids at the camp, did a whole sort of like protest and a walkout, and then had signs and all this stuff. And LaChance sent me pictures. She's like, look at our girls. And they were just there with their signs, and saying we must speak out and all this stuff.
Amazing.
So, we're raising little activists who are, in some ways, much more woke than we are. We're getting schooled by them every day. We beta test a lot of the stuff that we're doing in BT. We beta test it on them. But it's important. We want to, and people talk about mentorship and things like that. And we mentor whenever we can. But I tell you what, the most important mentorship for me is that of my children. And making sure that that I teach them by leading and how I choose to lead, and leading by example, and seeing what is possible. So that's a part of it.
And Sally James looks like she's on staff too, isn't she? A videographer. Beth pointed me to your Instagram video. That was amazing.
Yes, one of my census videos, and what was hilarious is she decided to start running at me as I was doing it. It's like, what is going on, this child? Yeah, she is fire. That little one, my goodness. She's gonna kick all of our butts someday. It's awesome.
I love that so much. We're gonna take a few fan questions, but I want to ask you a question first.
Yes.
So obviously, you made a lot of news before all this for singing "The Ladies Who Lunch" on the Sondheim concert with Christine and Meryl. Yes. Everyone saw that video. That video went everywhere. There are now, like, I've seen T-shirts of you guys. Like, there's merch. There's merch inspired by that. I want to ask you.
Yes.
Who was most nervous to do that of the three of you?
All of us. I don't know who was more neurotic, because we were all neurotic about it. I mean, I love those ladies, and we all have a very specific way of sort of showing our neuroses. But we were all three, and the thing is, you put the three of us in a Zoom or a room together, and I think we were just egging each other on in terms of who was getting more and more neurotic about it.
Well, Baranski was like the ringleader. Wasn't Baranski really the ringleader?
Baranski's idea. So in the end, we're like, if this really all goes down and it ruins and ends our careers, I guess we point the finger at Baranski. It really was just, it wasn't anything serious. It was just a way to honor Steve and just, because we have hung out with him in that way. We just thought, what a fun, silly way it would be to sort of harken back to that, especially since we can't get together with him right now. So that's all. You
made internet history. The fun part was knowing it was coming and knowing that part of the show when it was about to come on, and like, it was such a surprise. So it was fun to know people's minds were going to be blown. So I want to bring Caitlin in for a minute. Let's take a few quick questions.
Definitely. All right. So Zuri on YouTube would like to know, what do you hope for in demanding accountability and change in the theater industry? That's kind of a big question, but
that's a big one.
What do I hope for? Well, a lot of things. More stories about Black and Brown people being told. I would like to see much more representation behind the scenes, of course, on on the stage as well. But we need more representation in the unions. We need much more representation in wardrobe and hair and makeup and sound engineering and so their casting offices. I want to see more Black and Brown producers. I want to see the pipeline being opened up. I want to see the talent that is there but needs the nurturing. I want to see that happening. I want to I want to see spaces that are anti-racist. And that's my bra that's showing. Sorry about that. What are you going to do? It's COVID. So I just saw it. So sorry. Anyway, but yes, no, making sure that spaces are truly anti-racist and that there's no bias of any kind. I want to see it all change. I want to see it all get a whole lot better. And accountability, there are ways to hold people accountable. I think raising awareness is one way to hold people accountable. You start to open people's eyes. And so then when inequity is glaring them in the face or showing in the face, people who maybe if they're allies and not necessarily BIPOC or Black or Brown, or who wouldn't have necessarily noticed that before, all of a sudden do notice. And Gen Z is very powerful. They want to know where their money is going. They want to make sure that what they are supporting and what they are consuming is anti-racist. They want to make sure that it's something that they can believe in. And so Gen Z is a very powerful thing. And cancel culture, whether we like it or not, is also a powerful thing. So there are ways, but hopefully it's just in raising awareness. And as we begin to do the work with these companies and whatnot, the awareness in and of itself will at least start to crack open the windows and let the equity and diversity in. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so Summer Smith on Facebook wants to know, you have made so many dreams come true and have inspired so many. Who was someone who did that for you?
Oh, so many. Lena Horne inspired me greatly. Lillias White inspired me greatly. I'm trying to think of people who I could see myself in. Leslie Uggams, Diane Carroll. I was just talking to someone the other day about the time that I got to meet Eartha Kitt after seeing her in Wild Party. And she was someone whose career and whose, her struggles and her triumphs and all of it that I knew about growing up and followed for sure. And when I met her, all I could do, and I think when was the Wild Party was in 2000. So I had already, had a career on Broadway and whatnot. And I didn't even for a second assume that she knew who I was. Why would she? She's Eartha Kitt. But all I could do was get down on my knees. And her daughter was standing right there. I was backstage. I got down on my knees and thanked her. That's
amazing.
So I'm getting emotional thinking about it because she was, so many of us could be. And so all I could do and all I wanted to do was to just thank her. And so I did. I got down on my knees and thanked her.
She had that power. She just being around her. I'm so excited. I got to meet her during that time too. And it was it was amazing to, she was everything, Eartha Kitt.
Yes, she was.
Oh man. Oh, I love that.
And in that whole production, George Wolfe.
George
Wolfe, but and Eartha, and oh my
amazing.
Gosh,
Amazing,
yeah.
Incredible. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. And Jen on YouTube says that she's getting emotional because how you're explaining Eartha Kitt is what you mean to her. So I want to know, what does that feel like for you to know? You said like you're standing in that for people to come after you, but how does that feel like for you?
Well, it's incredibly moving for me because I know that representation is everything, and I know that inspiring, seeing yourself, if you can see yourself in someone up there, that just clears the path a little bit more for you, and that also illuminates the path. It says, okay, they're up there, they're doing it, I can do it, because they've shown me that it can be done. And so I understand how important it is to recognize the shoulders, on which I stand. And if I can then be shoulders for other people and especially other young Black women coming up or people of color, or anybody who sort of sees me and says, because she's doing it, I can. That's a very important, powerful thing. And it's a responsibility that I take very seriously and I've always taken very seriously. And understand that it helps illuminate and it helps show that rainbow, if that makes sense, that it's there. There's the rainbow. I can get across that rainbow to what I want to do as well. And then I would say to that young girl who just wrote that, she will then be the shoulders that someone is standing on someday. So just remember that chain, and then you become those shoulders, and then clear the path even more.
It's true. When we've been doing these, Michael James Scott has been doing these weekly amazing panels on Tuesdays. And one of the panels a couple of weeks ago, it was just they just all talked. They were just talking about you. It was just about how you're like this to all of them. I think Nikki Renee Daniels, your friend, was there that day. But it was just it's an Audra love fest. So you have definitely you carry it well. You carry it well. You've earned it, and you carry it well. And the work you're doing with BTU is fantastic. I can't wait to see what else happens. And everyone, I'm going to remind everyone again, tomorrow, 7:30, if you're on, I checked the time, 7:30 on the East Coast, 4:30.
Wait, no, 7.
7 p.m. Sorry, on the East Coast, 4 West Coast. And we'll make sure you know about it as well. And I just can't wait to see what else you guys have up your sleeve, because that's an amazing group of talent. Let's bring everybody back in here.
Yeah,
a fellow Eartha Kitt fanatic.
We've got some stuff up our sleeves. We're very excited.
So yes, thank you so much for being here, Audra. Please send love to your adorable husband, and we hope to see you soon.
Lumberjack.
You're lumberjack.
So nice to see all of you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Of course, anytime. Everyone, please check out the event tomorrow. And Caitlin, will you please take us out?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's fun brand new episode of Live at 5 Home Edition. You can listen along to wherever you get your podcast by searching for #Live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Now, we won't be here tomorrow because we take our Summer Fridays very seriously, but we will be back next week. So wear your masks, stay 6 feet away from each other, and have a great weekend.